I'm Megan Yarbrough, and I'm doing a presentation on Vincent van Gogh's history of bipolar disorder. Vincent van Gogh was a famous painter in the late 1800s. Van Gogh started out as an art dealer and didn't become a painter until he was only 27. It has long since been speculated what his actual medical diagnosis is, but I think that the most plausible cause was bipolar disorder. Van Gogh suffered some losses in his life in terms of romance and jobs and so on. Van Gogh had 2 failed marriage proposals, as well as being turned away from his religious studies by the Evangelical Church that he studied for. At one point, Van Gogh lived with a prostitute and her child, and his father threatened to send him to the insane asylum if he kept on with his dangerous habits. Van Gogh moved out of the home he shared with the prostitute and went to live with his father, who shortly died after. After the death of his father, Van Gogh moved to Paris with his brother Theo, who he was heavily reliant on financially and emotionally. It was in Paris when Van Gogh's condition considerably worsened. He took up absinthe and other dangerous substances. Due to these dangerous substances and his lacking mental health, Van Gogh started suffering from tonic spasms as well as lapses of amnesia. It was in May 1889 that Van Gogh finally voluntarily committed himself into the insane asylum. He stayed in the insane asylum for a year before checking out May 1890. He died only a few months later, July 27, 1890. There has been speculation that foul play was amiss, but the overall conclusion is that Van Gogh shot himself in the chest. He died 2 days after that in the arms of his brother Theo. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder often paired with anxiety, depression, or other mood disorders alike. Bipolar disorder is often caused by a lack of neurotransmitters like serotonin and norepinephrine. These neurotransmitters regulate a person's sex drive, sleep, arousal, and mood. It is recorded that it is more likely for males to develop bipolar disorder than it is for females. And over half of the population that have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder are not actively seeking help for it, or are not able to get help for it. Overall, there's a 36% suicide rate. According to the medical diagnosis book DSM-5, people with bipolar disorders will often go into manic or hypomanic episodes. While in these episodes, the individual can become impulsive, talkative, and moody. The individual might develop insomnia, distracted or racing thoughts, and inflated ego. It is typical during these episodes that the person will focus on one goal or task for however long the episode lasts, and they will throw their whole selves into it. Manic and hypomanic episodes can last for days, weeks, or even months. People with bipolar disorder might also go through depressive episodes. Just like in manic episodes, people that go through depressive episodes can develop insomnia and unconcentrated racing thoughts. A person going through a depressive episode might also develop fatigue or thoughts of death, often leading to suicide. How do we know that Van Gogh actually had bipolar disorder? There are many instances in Van Gogh's life where he showed symptoms of having bipolar disorder. In letters to his sister, he wrote about his woes and troubles. He wrote about having horrible fits of anxiety, as well as feeling an emptiness inside him and going through fatigue. He talked about how he would have attacks of rapid mood changes, going from melancholy to atrocious remorse. His brother Theo also took note that he noticed symptoms going on with his brother as well. He wrote that it seems as if there were 2 people, one marvelously gifted, tender, and refined, and the other egotistic and hard-hearted. It is reported that when Van Gogh moved to Arles with his fellow painter friend, Paul Gauguin, he started to throw himself into his work. Near the end of his life, Van Gogh had horrible troubles with his friend, Paul Gauguin. They were in love with the same woman. Van Gogh started to act very irrationally towards his friend, Paul. This led Van Gogh to cutting off his ear and sending it to the woman that both him and Paul were in love with. After this, Paul Gauguin and Van Gogh never spoke again. This shows that Van Gogh had horrible signs of self-harm as well as impulsive tendencies. Van Gogh died by his brother's side. It is said that his last words were, "The sadness will last forever." These are my cited sources. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you got something out of it.